What's going on, everybody? It's Rob Brunson with Wallace Electronic Sales. We're back again with another episode of the Electronic Intervention. A couple things really quick. Number one, I just want to I appreciate everybody who's tuned into all of our videos. Some of our videos have northwards of 1,000 views, which is really crazy to think about. So we really, really appreciate that. Secondly, if you look up at the top, I guess it's over here, everything's reversed. There's a QR code up here. So I've added that. So if you want to scan that at any time during the broadcast, this will actually take you to our virtual line card, and all the links are clickable. So you can check out all of our manufacturers, including the one that we're about to have on right now. And it's Rob Smith from iCONN Systems. He's one of the original owners of iCONN Systems. Now he's the VP of sales. I'm going to let him dive a little bit more into what his role is and all the things that he does for iCONN. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. By the way, this is the first time I've had another Rob on, so I'm really excited about this. An absolutely fantastic name. So hey, Rob, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, Rob, I couldn't agree with you more. I love the name.
It's a great name. It's a powerful name, you know.
It sure is. But you know, when you have a name like Robert Smith, unlike Rob Brunson, it causes you a little bit of causes you some issues. You know. Sure.
There's probably a lot of those.
Yeah, definitely. Tons of Robert Smiths with the same. Matter of fact, there's a Robert Smith that's from the state of Illinois that has the same birth date as me. That's caused a little bit of confusion. No. DMV, yeah. So it's quite interesting.
No. So here's the funny story about me. So I'm actually the third. So I'm Robert Brunson the third. So my grandfather, who was the first, went by Bob, and my dad, he just goes by Manny. I don't know. I think he just made it up. You know, he's like 6'7", and I'm pretty pale. I get that from my mom, and my dad's a really tan guy. So, and he kind of almost looks Puerto Rican a little bit. So I think he just wanted to go with like the Puerto Rican vibe. So he's just like, I'm going to go by Manny, and he just completely made it up when he was in high school, and he stuck with it. So I took Rob. He lost an opportunity to grab Rob. So that's mine funny. Now. So anyways, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about iCONN and what you do there.
Well, we started iCONN back in 2007. Myself and a couple other gentlemen that I had worked with previously. We've all come back. We all came together with a background in connectors.
Sure.
So we some of us had sales experience. Some of us had engineering experience. Some of us had operations experience. Some of us had a combination of all. And we came together, and we started iCONN. The original intent for iCONN was to work closely with our sister company, which is Mechanical Products. They make thermal circuit breakers.
Cool.
And they had a lot of great sources over in Southeast Asia, and they had a lot of great customers here in the States. And a lot of these customers would ask Mechanical Products if they had anybody that could assist with their interconnect needs. Mm-hmm. So we decided to start up to provide interconnect products for those customers of MP, and it kind of transformed into something completely different. Initially, we were looking at just having a facility here in the Chicagoland area where we could do some warehousing, maybe have some light manufacturing, but really, again, count on Southeast Asia as being a partner that could do all the labor, all the assembly work, have our engineering center here, have our sales group here. But as we started working with different customers and really understanding what our true talents and what our strengths were, we recognized that we were really good at engineered, customized solutions for interconnect needs, and that a lot of our customers either couldn't deal with the lead times coming out of Asia, some of the communication issues coming out of Asia. And some customers flat out have MUSA requirements made in the United States. So we continued to invest in our organization, and our path changed a little bit, and we continued to build up from being a light, production cell to having multiple production cells. We continue to take our profits and put it and vertically integrate our organization. So we do all of our own molding here. We have CNC Swiss machines, so we do a lot of our own metal components. Depending on what the volume is, we might outsource it. But if it makes sense, we'll do it here on our own CNC Swiss equipment. We have I think 9 production cells right now, and they all have overmolding machines. So we're able to do PVCs, polyurethanes. So again, we just continue to invest in our organization, and we've grown it to about 100 employees. This unit that we rented, which was one of 5 units in this building, now we have all 5 units. Keep in mind our sister company, Mechanical Products, is here with us now, and we share a lot of resources with them.
Sure.
But it's been quite a different path than what we originally intended it to be.
Great. So one of the things that you guys do a really good job with is harsh environment type connectors. Why do you think that is? Do you think that's because of your engineering capabilities? Do you think it's because you're a true US manufacturer? Do you think it's because you have engineering here in the States and you can work directly with customers? Why do you think you guys have excelled so much in harsh environment applications?
I think you've kind of named the top. All of them are legitimate reasons. We do have a great group of guys here in our engineering staff. Again, we bring a lot of experience from the connector industry, different companies, to iCONN. So we've had a lot of experiences through that as well. And being local and being here in the United States and being able to communicate and having people come into our facility, having testing capability right here, being able to work with them has really given us an advantage that going overseas or someplace else just doesn't have.
Right. Cool. So tell us a little bit about your role and what you do specifically at iCONN, since this is, ultimately I want to get into the iCONN stuff and I want to talk about the product that you guys sell, but really, this is about you, and I want the audience to know a little bit more what it is specifically that you do. Okay.
Well, prior to iCONN, I did work in the interconnect industry with a different company.
Sure.
And I started at a lower level as an industrial engineer, worked myself into a manufacturing manager, then to director of operations, and then ultimately took on some sales responsibility there. I left the industry for 14, 15 months, doing some consulting work on the operations side of things. And then we came back together and we started iCONN. And at iCONN, my original responsibility was for operations. So anything to do with the operations side of things, whether it be assembly, whether it be tooling, molding, manufacturing, engineering, purchasing, production control, the whole gamut of operations I was responsible for. And I had that responsibility as the VP of operations up until about 2 years ago.
Right.
One of my peers, who had been one of the founding owners, had shared that he wanted to retire by the end of 2021. And so I was asked if there was interest for me moving from the operations side into the sales side of things, since I had a great understanding of the product. I have a great understanding of our processes here. Being one of the original founders, I worked with a lot of the customers face to face, been really involved in a lot of the projects that we've had with them. So there's not a big transition as far as familiarity from him to myself. So I went into that role about 2 years ago, and I really enjoy the sales side of things. I like working with our customers. I like taking the knowledge base that I have, whether it be from an operations side of things, from an engineering perspective, and being able to work with them to come up with a solution that's more than what they anticipated. So it's been a great last 2 years for us, and I'm really looking forward to continuing to work in the sales side of things and grow the organization.
For sure. For me as a rep, I can tell you that having someone with engineering background who's also in sales is a pretty big advantage for someone like us. When we connect you with a customer, that really helps. Just by default, most of the time engineering people are just not interested in sales, and vice versa. You know what I mean? That's just a common trend. Yeah. So whenever you have someone with an engineering experience or a background and you get them into sales, that's a big advantage for someone like me. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring up y'all's website, because I think it's really good. And we could kind of talk about a couple things, and there's a couple videos on here that I thought we could look at. We'll leave this big. We'll keep us small over here. So this is iCONN's website, and there's quite a bit to unpack here. And I really want to get into the 3D drawings and the CAD files that you guys offer, because I really believe that's some next level stuff that a lot of manufacturers do not offer. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to jump right to that. And then we can obviously backtrack and do some other things. But I just think this is so cool for everybody watching. We'll just grab this one, for example.
Well, even taking a step before you go there,
Sure.
you do have the option on that first screen to kind of define what exactly you're looking for.
Okay.
So if you were to go back to your original screen there that had the product configurator on there, you're going to see over on the left-hand column, there's a bunch of different categories. So for example, click on the category there.
Okay.
And let's go with cable assembly.
Okay.
And then click on coupling style.
Okay.
And let's go with thread and metal.
All right.
And then let's take a look at wire size. And let's maybe put in like a 20. Yeah, put in 20.
Okay.
And you can see now you've kind of reduced the amount of pictures, models that are on the right-hand side there down. So for example, if we're interested in the i12, the first column there, any one of them, go ahead and select it.
I like the right angle one. Those are always fun to look at.
And then you can take a look there. You're able to pull up. Yep.
That's just so cool to me.
Yeah. And then you can actually download that as well.
Yep. And you can request a quote. How long did it take you guys to do this? To actually have, because I actually looked before, and there's 31 pages of standard connectors, and they all have these 3D drawings on them, which I think is just the coolest thing in the world. How long did it take to get these things on here?
Well, fortunately for us, we partnered up with a great organization that did a lot of the work for us. We had to supply them a lot of the work, but then they were able to take our models and our information and put into this layout. To tell you an exact time configuration on that, I'd be kind of speculating, but I think it was about a 6-month process.
Right. Well, that's pretty fast. I mean, really, all things considered.
And we're continuing to add to it. One of the things that we're working on right now are some other M12s and as well as some filled installable types of connectors.
Sure. I just think that's one of the coolest features of the whole website. Whenever I go here, I was like, that's the first thing I want to show. So now we can kind of walk through everything else here. There is a cool little video, who is iCONN, about iCONN systems. We'll watch that. But any particular place you would like to share?
Well, before we get too far, you can kind of divide up the website into 3 categories.
Okay.
As far as what we have to offer, our product offering. So there's standard product, and that's kind of that configurator that you just looked at. This is standard like M12, M8, iMini A, iMini B, iMini C. And then we also offer a plastic product. It's a little bit lower cost with a quick turn coupling mechanism, a bayonet coupling mechanism. So we offer those as standard products. But a lot of times what we find out is that by itself isn't exactly meet our customers' needs, or maybe it does meet our customers' needs, but there's an opportunity to provide them with a solution that's a modified version of that. So we'll work with them, and we'll actually take this standard product where we already have a majority of the tooling and convert it into something that's more specific for them, that addresses all of their needs and maybe even some that they didn't think about. But then, so that would be the second category, is like modified standard. And then lastly, you have custom engineered products. So you'll see a page on there, some things that we've done specifically for individual customers. We've worked with them, we've listened to what their needs are, and we've provided solutions to them. And we feel that's really where we're good at, is the custom engineered products. We could really market ourselves more as a engineering firm that happens to make cable assemblies and connectors more so than a true cable assembly connector house. But that's really our cup of tea. That's what we excel at. So that gives you a little bit of flavor. But yeah, if you want to proceed down and click on the video about iCONN, that would be a nice way to start.
Yeah, we'll watch it. I'll go ahead and say this too: that whoever does the voiceovers for y'all's videos, that guy's awesome too. He sounds like someone who would like do voiceovers in like a Disney and Pixar movie. You know?
Yeah. You know what? I think majority of them are done by a professional, so it could possibly be the guy here at a Pixar movie. But I think there might even be one or two that has some of our own personnel from iCON doing it as well.
I've seen the one with Rich in there, so let's see which one this one is.
We're iCON, and our products are built to operate in any environment, no matter how extreme. We design, develop, engineer, and manufacture waterproof, weatherproof, and heat-resistant solutions to help our customers achieve safety and efficiency with their products. We take the time to understand the environment our connector and cable assemblies will endure and use a total design concept that considers application constraints, durability requirements, as well as performance and effectiveness. Our engineering process provides suggestions on design, verification, prototyping, and validation testing prior to significant investment in tooling and capital. iCON's responsiveness, adaptability, and attention to detail when developing solutions enables us to provide unparalleled customer service. We don't believe in one standard way to do business with our customers. It's unique with each one. To us, it's about engaging in a partnership to help you bring your vision to life. Let us design the solution for your needs.
See, I think that's just such a good video because it's straight to the point. And, you know, one thing that we talk about as reps that I really appreciate about this video too is that it actually kind of takes you to the factory in a way. Now, granted, it's in the background, it's behind everything, but you still see what you guys are doing. And I think that's really important, especially post-COVID, which we'll get to in a second. But being able to take the customers into the factory or into the warehouse and say, you know, hey, we are a real company and we are here doing things, that's big time value whenever we're trying to share this with potential customers and they can actually go click and look at this. So I think that's a great video.
Yeah, you know, I would agree with you on that. We just for that purpose, I mean, we really feel that having a potential customer come through our facility is probably one of the biggest marketing tools for us that we have. To see the vertical integration that we have going on, to see all the processes that we have in place, to see the process controls we have in place. You know, I think it really provides a customer a clear picture of who iCON is, what our capabilities are, and what we're able to do for them.
Yeah, it's good. And there is one with Mr. Rigoli on there. You guys have so many R's, it's hard to keep track. You got Robert, Rob, Rich, Rick. So it's just R's everywhere, you know. So I wanted to pull up this, and this is really cool. This is y'all's newer product, and I just wanted to show the video on this as well. We will let everyone know that Robert, not Rob, is kind of the point person on this. And the great thing about this is you can actually schedule a meeting with Robert right here. Did you claim Rob? Did you and Robert like fight and, you know, decide who was going to get Rob?
You know, I guess just because I was here before he was cool with going with Robert.
Seniority rules.
But we actually have more than just two Robs here. We've got Rob Montgomery over at our sister company, and so it does get a little bit confusing. But 9 times out of 10, where they're talking about Rob, they're talking about me. They're talking about Robert. They're talking about Robert Sisson. Like you said, he's the one responsible for the Niobicon product. And as you talked about earlier, about one of the things you like about iCON is engineering background that some of our sales group has. You know, he's got a mechanical engineering degree and a very smart and talented young man. And if anybody has any questions whatsoever about Niobicon, I recommend to give him a call directly, and he'll fill you in on it and provide you any details that you need.
For sure. And this is some crazy stuff, right? Whenever we saw this for the first time, when you guys first released this product, and we'll play the video here in a second, but when you see the guy, you know, connecting and touching the pins and the connectors underwater, I mean, it's pretty nuts. Like when you really think about that kind of technology and where we are kind of as humanity, that we're able to do this, it's pretty impressive, man.
It is pretty cool. And it's kind of cool to hear about some of the things that Robert's working on with some of our potential customers, like underwater docking stations for submarines and little robots and that kind of thing. And it's really cool to see where this is going. And I'm glad that iCONN's part of it. And it's been a real interesting experience.
For sure. And that's, kind of touch on the ocean. What's always funny to me is as humans, we're kind of obsessed with space for whatever reason. You know what I mean? We want to go to the moon and we want to go to Mars and all this, that, and the other. But we've explored 5% or 10% of the ocean, of the giant rock that we inhabit. So you hope that we'll start exploring that more, and maybe this will be a tool to do it. So I'm going to play this video just because I think it's super neat, and then we'll move on. It's only a minute and 35, so let's check this out.
A new, revolutionary, patented product that's ideal for underwater applications. The
That's just so crazy to me.
Connector. Niobicon's patented technology allows the wet-mate connector to mate and unmate underwater. That's because Niobicon connectors are designed to intentionally let water in. Niobium contacts are touch-safe underwater, even with power applied. The Niobicon connector is corrosion-resistant, has no O-ring, gaskets, or oil bladders. No sealing is required. And you can mate or unmate above the water or fully submerged. There is no depth limit. It's durable enough to be used in the harshest environments, saltwater and freshwater. But even underground, iCONN's wetmate can be customized for any application and is suited for any industry that comes in contact with water. Possibilities are endless because there's nothing else like iCONN's wet-mate connector, above or below the water. Start mating and unmating cables underwater without damaging electrical components or posing a health risk to yourself or the surrounding environment. If you're having challenges with your current interconnect performance, there's no need to wait for your next project. We can provide the solution you seek now. Don't let harsh environments and water threaten your next application. Contact iCONN today to see how we can connect your product to work anywhere.
Really cool, man. Really cool stuff. My brain, for whatever reason, goes to, okay, when they were designing that, who was the first person to say, all right, Jimmy, you're going to plug this up in, 10 gallons of water and just trust us,
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty cool stuff. So, this is the iCONN website. I mean, we could probably spend 2 hours on here going through everything. So I would encourage everyone to, it's iconsystems.com. You guys can check that out. That's ICONN, 2 N's, systems.com. Or again, you can scan that QR code that's at the top right of the screen right now, and it'll pull up our entire line card. You can scroll down to iCONN Systems, and that is a clickable link as well. So that'll take you there if for whatever reason you're having trouble remembering the name, but you shouldn't. It's a really easy name. So let's talk about the elephant in the room for the last year that everyone's been dealing with. And this is kind of the only subject that I like to ask, but I think it's important because we represent so many companies all over the U.S. that everyone was dealing with different stuff. We're here in North Carolina. The rules were different from us. For us, you guys are up there in Illinois. So COVID, okay. What challenges did you guys have? What did your work life look like for the last 15 months? What's changed? What are you proud of? I know there's a lot to unpack there, but let's just start with, how did COVID affect your day-to-day business model?
Well, we were considered to be an essential manufacturer. We have some customers that actually made some of the COVID testing equipment. And I got to tell you, that's something that we're very proud about. It's, we recognize that the pandemic that we were dealing with, that, maybe in just a slight, tiny fashion, iCONN assisted in helping fight that battle via the cable that went on that testing equipment. So there's definitely a lot of pride there, but it's also very beneficial, and we're very thankful that we were considered to be an essential manufacturer so that we could stay open, keep our employees building product, keep our customers happy, being able to continue to support our suppliers. So very, very thankful for that. But yeah, you're right. We've had a lot of challenges that we had to deal with. Number one, obviously, is making sure that your employees are safe. and especially if you can go back to, March of 2020, April of 2020, at the beginning of this, not knowing what feedback you're hearing, if it's accurate, if it's not accurate, if it's overkill. At the beginning, if you recall, we didn't need to wear masks, and then later on, you should wear a mask. And how long is the COVID sticking on product once it's been exposed to it? Is it only on there for 24 hours? Is it on there for 48? And so you had all these crazy things going on, and trying to figure out how to have an organization run while balancing all this information that you've got coming in was very chaotic, and so we just kind of took it one at a time. I remember even in a period of time where we were having difficulty with getting the antibacterial from different vendors. So we ended up, making our own, stuff like that, out of aloe and out of alcohol, and just being creative to try to continue to move forward.
Sure.
That was probably one of our biggest issues. But the other thing then is, we really pride ourselves on being a process flow shop. We have production cells that follow a typical production process flow, and you need people stationed right next to each other to allow for this nice movement, equal movement of product throughout this production cell. And whenever you have to have social distancing and stuff like that, how do you do that and keep that flow going? How do you do that and continue to be efficient? So we were always trying to figure out how we could overcome some of these obstacles that were thrown our way, and yet still keep everybody safe.
Right. And that's really, I love doing these interviews, because I think natural human instinct is, we'll just use Amazon, for example. You get on Amazon and you go add something to your cart, and then 2 days later it shows up at your doorstep, right? The reason I love talking about the COVID thing with people is for that exact reason. You're making your own, disinfectant, because you are actually building stuff. You're making the products that people are using. And I think a lot of times it's just human instinct. I think we just don't think about that. And there are people behind the scenes, and, people think of iCONN as, hey, look at this awesome cable assembly, these connectors, right? But how did we get that? How did that get to my hands, especially the last 15 months? And, I just think stories like that are so cool. And you know what? That's probably stuff that you guys will remember forever. Obviously, it was a really sad time for 15 months, but 5-6 years from now, you guys will be able to sit around the office and say, hey, remember that time we were making disinfectant out of, aloe and stuff like that? And it's just a cool story to have. So I think that's really neat. So kind of on the topic of COVID, one thing that we did was we really embraced technology and tried. Some of it was obviously by force because we couldn't go see anybody. So Teams and Zoom and all that stuff became really important. But then we started to get creative. We started doing this, which has gone relatively well. And then we started making other videos as well. So I guess my question is, for iCONN, looking at your website, it seems like you guys have already embraced, being ahead of the curve on technology. But how did technology change your business model during COVID? Was it helpful? And then also, do you see some of the stuff that you adapted sticking around for the long term?
Well, and I think this is across the board for everyone, whether it's Zooms or Microsoft Teams or whatever the case. We really, we did a little bit of that before COVID, but that became like a primary means of communication, definitely during this pandemic.
Sure.
For a good period of time, we actually had our sales team, good portion of our engineering team, although they would come in when they were needed, working remotely. And a lot of times we had to have conference calls, project review meetings, sales meetings, even interviews. Zoom, Microsoft Teams were the format that we used to have that communication. But I believe that's going to continue to happen. I mean, even today we're allowing customers to come in. We're allowing vendors to come in as long as they've been vaccinated, and if they haven't, we expect them to wear a mask and to follow all the safety protocols. But if they want to come in, they're more than welcome to come in. But you and I are doing this interview via the web. I've had 2 meetings today with different customers that were using a Microsoft Teams format. So I believe that's just going to continue to grow, especially
I agree.
the trend that was happening before even COVID with, business becoming more of a international community, and you're communicating with people all over the world. And that's just going to drive that regardless of COVID anyways. But
Absolutely.
That's definitely been something big for us, is the use of that.
See, I agree with you completely. And, one of the trends that I think will begin to happen is, you're really critical, I guess, if you will, accounts, you're going to have to be in the building for those guys, and I'm talking about this from my perspective as a sales rep, but some of the smaller accounts or some of the accounts you need to touch 4 times a year, you can, for example, I'm in North Carolina, right? So I cover Charlotte East and then all of South Carolina. Hypothetically, if I wanted to today, I could be in Charleston at noon. I could be in Raleigh at 1 o'clock. I could be in Charlotte at 3 o'clock. And now I'm in Illinois with you at, 3:30, and I'd never have to leave my desk. So I think that's the convenience of it all is going to be really critical, especially kind of from the top down approach. As salespeople, there is nothing more valuable than being right in front of the customer, especially when you're in the warehouse, because they can say, hey, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this, but I'm having a problem with this thing. Could you help me with this? And then you can touch it, you can see it. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. I think it'll be 50-50. But I think technology's without a doubt here to stay for forever.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to go away. And I think the trend will always evolve towards technology and away from face-to-face visits, just not because of disease or anything, surely because of time management, right?
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah. Something that I would like to add on to that though is, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit, is it's definitely a tool that's going to be around here for a while, forever. And it'll evolve as well. But being face-to-face with the customer, like you mentioned earlier, being in their production area, looking at their product, talking to people that might not be involved sometimes in these type of Zoom Teams meeting interactions is invaluable. One of our very first customers, myself and one of my peers went out to the facility, and we talked to all the right people. We talked to the engineering staff. We talked to the purchasing people. But we also had an opportunity to go on the production line and even the warranty line. There's actually a warranty person at this group, and talked to these people and found out, okay, what kind of issues are you having at warranty that are directly affected by your interconnects? And he was showing us things that were happening. And so we wouldn't have gotten that information if we wouldn't have been there and actually kind of done the digging. So I think having face-to-face, one-on-one relationships is something that's critical to really truly understand your customer and to try to supply them with the product that's above and beyond what they can possibly even think they need, and really continue to evolve that relationship.
Completely agree. And, for me, I'm a quote unquote younger person, whatever that means.
Yeah.
I look like I'm like 50, but I did just turn 30. But for me, what's really important for people in my generation, my main concern is that people my age are going to try to replace relationship building with technology. But in return, I think what we need to do is we need to use technology to build relationships, right? You kind of need to invert it. It's never going to replace relationships. And that's what I worry about that sometimes with people my age. But as long as we understand that we can use technology to actually bridge the gap and build relationships, I think we'll be okay.
Well, I can tell you at iCONN, technology, just constant improvement is a real focus for us. I mean, we're talking about, interacting with customers, but if you were to take a walk out on our production floor, we're always looking for ways of pulling out costs. We're always looking for ways to make things more consistent, more efficient. So we're always looking at equipment that we could possibly buy and bring in that will assist us and help us do that and remain competitive. We're always looking to try to get better utilization out of our equipment. We have molding machines that we're able to run 24 hours a day here because of the technology that's out there, the monitoring systems that are out there. We have robotic arms that come down and pick a sprue out, remove the sprue from the good part. The part goes into a bin. The sprue possibly may go back into a regrinder if the part permits that. The regrinder will grind it up, and then it'll be fed into a hopper based upon the percentage regrind that's allowed, along with virgin material.
Crazy.
It'll keep on going all night long. We also have monitoring equipment that we have on our CNC Swiss machines that will monitor vibration as well as electrical needs. And we're able to optimize the actual machine itself and the way the machine runs based on monitoring this electrical requirement, this vibration analysis. And then we can set parameters to that as well. So the operator can go home at night, and if for some reason a tool breaks and all of a sudden it recognizes an excessive amount of vibration or an excessive amount of electrical needs for that specific operation, it'll shut the machine down so it doesn't continue to run bad product all night long. So we're continually trying to do that kind of stuff. You saw what we're doing here on the internet, on our webpage, with the product configurator. We're using, above and beyond that, we're using a cloud-based project management tool for all of our processes. So for tracking and working with our teammates and archiving all of our product development, all of our engineering change requests, all of our deviation requests, all of our quality control notices, they're all going through a cloud-based system so that any one of our teammates can have access to that and look at it and work on it at the same exact time, being more efficient and just better organized. So we look at trying to apply technology in all aspects of our organization.
That's really cool. I'm just going to throw this out there. The thing about the screw, that would make a great video. I'm just putting that out there. That would be a really cool thing to see, walk everyone through the process. Right. I would watch it.
No, that is pretty
really
cool.
neat.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that sometimes, especially regular consumers, not necessarily engineers, I don't think, but regular consumers of products really don't realize how much goes into making something that looks very, very simple. Even like a toothbrush. If you think about that, you go to the store, you can buy a toothbrush for 99 cents. But all the details and the molding and the materials that go together to bond the different types of materials together, the bristles, the diameter of the bristles, the length of the bristles. I mean, you can go on and on and on. And that's a toothbrush. Imagine a connector that has electrical requirements, tolerances on dimensions. It's got to withstand, in a lot of our cases, harsh environments. You're looking at higher level materials like stainless 316, 303, 304. You're looking at high temperature resins like PPSUs, PEEK materials. So there's a lot of stuff out there that the regular consumer will never, ever really appreciate until you're in the middle of it and you understand all the detail it takes just to make this little thing,
That's 100% right. And that is honestly the inspiration for this show, right? Is to get, because also to piggyback on that, that's all 100% correct. But then the other thing is iCONN doesn't run itself, right? So that's why I love getting you on. Hopefully we'll get Robert Sizz on soon, but have you guys on because you guys are the people who are making things happen. Right. It's not like, a little robot like Wall-E rolls over, flips on the light at iCONN at 7:00 in the morning and things just start happening. And you're at home, watching Fox Sports 1, that's not the way it works. So I think that's why this has gone really well, is because it humanizes a product and it humanizes a business, because that's essentially all it is. iCONN does not run itself. Maybe one day, when Jeff Bezos takes over the world, but for now, it's still humans. So I think that's really cool. Really, really cool. We're going to clip that out and we're going to use that later.
All right.
So one question I love asking people is about leadership, because I think, when you look around today, I think that's one of the things that people my age need. We need good leaders. And it's something that we're lacking a little bit. So I guess the question for you is, what role has leadership played for iCONN? And then how does Rob Smith define a leader?
Well, especially in the last year, leadership has been really key. Being able to envision what different things could possibly happen with all the variables that were being thrown at us, being able to come up with possible solution for each one of those variables, And then once something changes, being able to react to it quickly and efficiently get on a different path that makes most sense. Having that vision, that insight, that knowledge, that capability has been really, really important. And I think that's something that we do well here at iCONN throughout our entire leadership team. As far as Rob Smith, I think I would find myself falling more under a category of what they call servant leadership. And that is, I personally try to empower my employees. I know that everybody comes together with a different set of strengths, a different set of tools, talents, and to try to tap into those, coordinate those activities, provide a target for us to go after, maybe allow them to deviate on their own little path to get to that target, as long as it's not too far out of line, but it's their path of getting there, utilizing, again, their skill set, their talents, and kind of just cultivating a team, providing empowerment. I think that's how I look at being a leader, is what can I do to help my team achieve this task? And I'm here for support. I'm here for coordination. I'm here to provide some vision for my team. But that's what I would consider leadership. And I think today, one of the issues that you're seeing across all businesses is a difficulty to get good talent, get good people working right now.
Right. That's right.
Whatever the reasoning is, whether it's people afraid to come back to work, whether it's just an excess of activity going on and just not enough labor in general, or if it has something to do with people being motivated to not come into work. I'm not trying to go down a political path at all with this.
Sure.
Whatever the reason may be.
Yeah, there's 20 reasons that it could be, right?
Exactly. Right now, you want to be able to hold on to the people you have. You want to encourage your people. You want to lift them up, and you want to attract people. And I think following that servant style of leadership, empowering your people, allowing them to be creative and use their skill sets and their knowledge together to come to a common purpose, I think is again, from my perspective, my own personal opinion, the right way to handle that. And I think that most people would appreciate and want to be in that kind of environment.
Absolutely. Never underestimate the power of great culture, right?
Yeah.
Because ultimately people want to come to work, and it's not a situation where, they want to, dance in every single day they come to work, but they want to know that they're going to a job where people are going to put their nose to the grindstone, treat them with respect, do what they say they're going to do. And culture means a lot, and culture can change quickly. Culture's fluid. It's not like, culture's cemented in certain companies. I mean, the Phoenix Suns are a great example. They've been a dumpster fire for 15 years, right? And then they change leadership. They get Monty Williams in there. They get James Jones in there. They get Chris Paul, who's a real leader. And now they're in the NBA Finals. It's just crazy how things can happen quickly. They can happen quickly in a good way, but they can also happen quickly in a bad way. And I think that's a really important aspect of leadership, kind of to piggyback on what you said. So I guess the last question, then we'll kind of get into the fun stuff, is I want to touch back on hey, look at me, I'm a young person. So what advice would you give to a young person who's entering your field?
I think I'm kind of biased on this because I'm reflecting back on my history and my experiences. Sure. And I really think having a fundamental understanding of the key basic product that you're involved in. So at iCONN, cable assemblies and connectors, being an industrial engineer when I came into this industry, put me out on the production floor. I got to build product. I got to work with employees that was their job, and they've been doing it for 20 years. And I can't tell you how much knowledge I gained just from being with them and listening to them and absorbing all this information. So I'd say, get a good understanding of whatever the product is. In this case, cable assemblies. Spend time, get out there on the production floor, listen to people that have been here. If you've got some engineering talent there, you get involved with them, get a big understanding of that. Listen closely to what your customers have to say. Matter of fact, just listen. Listen to what you've got coming off your production floor. Listen to your engineering team. Listen to your customers. Listen to your vendors. Just listen, absorb, and take that information, and then process it to make it work for you in this situation. But I think having a really good technical understanding of your product, being able to communicate with your customers, being able to have one-on-one relationships with your customers, getting them to feel comfortable with you, open up with you, understanding what their needs are. I understand now what I can do here at my company and how I can apply that to take care of their needs. Being honest, having a high level of integrity to where they don't ever feel uncomfortable being straight up and honest with you.
Right.
Even if it's something that you don't want to hear, listen to what they have to say, take it to heart, think about the source and how they're interpreting that data to supply that back to you. But again, I think just listening and learning, absorbing and applying it is such a key thing for anybody in any aspect of the connector field, whether it be in the sales side, whether it be in the engineering side, whether it be in the production side of things. Just listening and learning and growing.
I completely agree. And, I talk to my buddies about this all the time. And I think as younger people, as we learn, one of the things we have to be willing to do is grow organically into a company. You have to be able to plant your roots down and organically grow through that company, kind of like your story. You started on the floor, then you worked your way up to manager, then it was just a crescendo to where you are now. And that just didn't happen. It took a lot of work. It taught you being in the building, you asking questions, you paying attention. And then that basically projected you to where you are today. So really good stuff, man. I agree with all that. So now we get into the fun stuff and kind of dig into the not the business stuff and all the philosophical stuff I like to pressure people on a little bit. But I tell people all the time when they come on here, it's this big J journalism. Journalism is not dead as long as I'm still here, Rob. So
there you go.
Don't worry. So I created a tier maker for us. So I'm sure you've seen me do these. We'll get to that in just a second, but I want to ask just some generic questions that I usually ask everybody just to kind of get a pulse for them. So we'll start with this one. This is one of my favorite ones to ask. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Wow. I have a few that kind of come to mind. And I'm sure that if my wife was here, she would point me in about 20 different directions I've watched. The one that comes to mind actually though is an old movie called My Life.
I've never seen that.
I think it's I could be wrong. I think it's an actor by the name of Michael Keaton, I think. Okay. And basically, this is kind of a sad movie, so I probably should not have used this as my answer.
It's okay.
It basically is a story of this guy who is finding out that he's going to pass away, and to document certain things in preparation for his child. And I really. My wife won't watch it anymore, and it's been a while since I've actually seen it. But my wife won't watch it because it's a tearjerker. But I love my family. My family means a lot to me. I have a son and daughter, and I've been married now for 27 years.
Good for you, man.
And that was also my high school sweetheart. So we were dating 7 years prior to that. But my family means a lot to me, and so watching that show. And thinking about how that character was going through that and processing things really, hit something in me. And so, again, it's not necessarily a fun show, but there's some emotion, there's some interest that was kind of generated from the essence of the show.
Well, that's one of the things that movies will get to you, right? You're attached emotionally, so that's what makes you like. I've actually got my fiance, and I keep telling Mark Motzinger, the president of our company, I've got my fiance watching The Wire on HBO Max. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I'm telling you, man, it's the greatest show ever. And Mark's daughter is actually a journalist. And I know that she would appreciate it. My guess is that she's already seen it. But I know Mark, and Mark would really like it a lot. And if you guys haven't seen The Wire, it's so realistic that you can really relate to the characters, and it's just awesome. And she's got 2 more episodes left, and some stuff happened in the last 3 episodes, and she's had to take a break because what I'm getting at is she's so emotionally invested in the show too that it's tough for her. She's just like, I I can't deal with this happening to this character and that happening to this character. So it's funny how cinema and and art, I guess, if you will, has that effect on you. You got a comment here. This is from Graham. He was on the show last time. Fascinating shows ever, Rob. Thanks, Graham. Always interesting people. So
Thanks, Graham.
That's talking about you. But yeah, so who's the best musician of all time? And this could be a band, and who's your favorite? And then I guess the question would be, who is the best? Because that could be two different answers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I like a lot of different styles of music.
Sure, me too.
I think sometimes I blow away my kids whenever I'm listening to something like, Dad, you know who the Glass Animals are? Yeah, I know who they are. So
I have Sirius XM, son.
Exactly. But I also like a lot of classic stuff as well. I appreciate all music. It's a form of art, and I might not necessarily enjoy listening to that specific style.
Sure.
But the fact that somebody can pick up an instrument or can sing or do something along that line just shows a talent that some people don't appreciate and some people take for granted, but that they have. Again, if maybe focusing more on classic rock, I'd have to say that one of the musicians that I'm really impressed with is Eric Clapton.
He's really good.
What a great guitar player, and to pull off some of the stuff that he's done and his experiences. And I can think of 3 or 4 friends of mine that are just huge Eric Clapton fans, and they've actually traveled to different parts of the world to watch him play. If I ever had an opportunity while I was traveling and he happened to be there, I would definitely take advantage of it.
Sure.
But what an awesome musician.
Yep. I love Cream, and White Room is one of the greatest songs ever. And then I like Layla, the slowed down version. The fast version is cool, but the slowed down version is really impressive.
Even like some of the stuff that he's done, like with Crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
You hear a wide variety of people that have played the song Crossroads, and his version, I for whatever reason, I just always enjoy it. It's just got, it's something special. Again, there's a lot of different types of music I like. U2 goes back a number of years, but how impressive are they and their capabilities and coming up with hits one after another. There's just so many. My grandparents were big country music fans.
Okay.
Used to listen to Johnny Cash and what a talent he was, and Alan Jackson, what a talent he was. And
I love Alan Jackson. See, I'm from South Carolina, so we get down to some Alan Jackson down there, and Brooks and Dunn too. I don't know if you ever heard of Oot, Scoot, and Boogie, but man,
well, I got to tell you, Alan Jackson, and I'm not going to profess that I'm a great water skier.
Yeah,
but Alan Jackson did teach me how to water ski by watching the Chattahoochee.
Oh yeah. I love that. For me, so my mom and my dad both had a pretty big musical influence on my life. My mom, she was really into Madonna and Prince and the Stones. So I always naturally, with her style of music, I always gravitated toward Prince. I really thought he was talented and could really play any instrument, and his vocal range was really good. And then my dad was always listening to some little bit more off the wall stuff like the Gypsy Kings. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they're really good. I kind of think my dad, now that I'm having this conversation with you, I think my dad secretly wants to be some form of Hispanic descent. He's changed his name to Manny. He listens to the Gypsy Kings, but they're awesome. If you've never heard of the Gypsy Kings, go check them out. They do a rendition of Hotel California. It's incredible.
Hey, Rob, so, to clarify that a little bit, do you think you could sing a little bit of one of their songs for me so I could see if I know who they are?
Trust me when I tell you, you don't want me to do that. If you appreciate your eardrums, maybe one day if we turn this into something bigger and we all have like a beer summit or something, then we can all just lock arms and sing together. But I got to try to keep the viewers that I have, man.
Yeah, true. And if that was to ever take place, we'd have to make sure that there's no way that anybody could tap into this recording.
Right.
And it would just stay strictly between a few of us. Yeah.
Yeah, and poor, I'm in the office right now, and Emmett and Betty and Mark are all here. So if I start singing, man, I'm actually looking out the window. I'm going to see Emmett drive away, Betty drive away. I'll see Mark come around the back. They'll take off. So let's pull up this tier maker. So I tried to get creative with this one because we've done a bunch of different ones. So this is an interesting one. So the one that I chose for us to do is I chose chips.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So everybody likes chips. So I figured we'd just do this. And what I always do is I post it on LinkedIn. So we'll jump through these and, you'll choose and I'll choose. So we have I think 5. Yeah. So we have A, B, C, D, and then my classic water trash category, the ones that are just absolutely terrible. So I'll go ahead and get this thing rolling here with my favorite chip of all time. And that's going to be Sun Chips Garden Salsa. These are delicious. Yeah. If you fancy Jersey Mike's, get you a number 13, the Italian sub, Mike's Way. Hold the tomatoes because tomatoes are weird. And then get you some garden salsa Sun Chips, and it's just awesome. Yeah.
So let me make sure I understand this. So we're not necessarily worrying about calorie content, fat content, strictly taste.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Do I look like somebody who cares about calorie content? No.
I'm just making sure I'm on the same page. So it's a little bit hard for me to see here, but
I can zoom in for you.
Yeah. You got is there like a jalapeno flavored potato chips?
Yep. So they have the Kettle brand, but then they also have the Miss Vicky's. So are you a Kettle brand kind of guy or a Miss Vicky's?
I think I've had both, but let's go with the Miss Vicky's.
I agree with you. This is also served at Jersey Mike's. This is turned into a Jersey Mike's promo for whatever reason, but you can buy these at Jersey Mike's as well. So I'm going to choose another one that I love, and those are Funyuns. These are delicious. I don't know if you've noticed this, but next time you're in the grocery store, I want you to look at the price of potato chips. And I didn't realize this until like 2 or 3 weeks ago. My fiance pointed this out to me, but the Funyuns are like 20% more expensive than any other potato chip. And I have no idea why. Maybe because it's the shape, but it's mind blowing. So I'll put this one over to you.
All right. Matter of fact, do you have any of those Takis?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have to represent some of my employees here. So let's go with that. I love those chips.
Which one do you want? The Fuegos are good.
Yeah, let's go with the purple one there.
Yeah, the Fuegos are good. These are really good snacks. So this I'm going to put in the B section, but I think this is an underrated chip, the spicy sweet chili Dorito.
Okay.
It's a great snack. It's not one of those like with the garden salsa, I could eat like half a bag, but with this, you eat like, 20 of them and then you're settled.
Gotcha. All right. So you know what? I think we got to go to a classic. Okay. I don't get to eat this one all the time, but if it's ever around, I'll grab some. And I'm going to go with the chili Fritos.
Yes, these are delicious. Yeah. I love these things. You okay with putting this in the A section?
Totally. Yeah. I have a feeling that probably majority of these things you could justify me in putting them on in letter A.
For sure.
I like, but I don't need to be eating it. Thus my question to you. But and the ones that I actually like, the ones that I probably eat the most, I'd probably put towards the bottom of the list because they're the healthier of the options.
Well, see, half of these I've never heard of. Like, I don't know what pop chips are. I don't know.
Oh no, I had pop chips before, and they're pretty good. I would put them maybe like a low B, high C.
So this is going to be the one. This may shock people, but I love Cheetos. Okay, I think they're great, but I think the cheddar jalapeno Cheetos are water trash. They don't taste good to me. They just don't taste good. I love the flaming hot ones, but the cheddar jalapeno ones, they don't have good flavor. And you want to know something really scary and a little bit sketchy? So we were at the grocery store the other day, and they actually have Cheetos mac and cheese now. Have you seen this?
I don't think so.
Oh my goodness. Your kids would probably love it. I don't know if I would recommend it, but we bought a box and it was very bizarre.
Yeah.
So they have the cheddar jalapeno, the regular cheese flavor, and then they have the flamin' hot flavor. We got the flamin' hot flavor and it was a mistake. We'll leave it at that. It was only $1, but it was a mistake. All right, so I'll push it back to you here. We'll do a couple more.
Well, since you were talking about the Flamin' Hot Cheetos, besides the residue they leave on your finger, I got to tell you they're tasty. So why don't we grab those Flamin' Hots and put them in B?
Definitely. Completely agree with that. I love the Flamin' Hots, just not the cheddar. So this is going to be a weird one. I'm going to rank this one not as a favorite, but I think I'm going to put Chex Mix at C just because it's a classic. It's not.
It is.
You're not gravitated towards it, but if you're at a picnic and someone busts out some Chex Mix, you'll eat it. What are the little brown things called? Whatever those are, I love them.
Yeah, like the little pieces of like dehydrated bread or whatever you're.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It tastes really good. It's really salty. I could kind of go without the actual Chex, but whatever. So I'll push it to you.
All right, let's take a look here. You know what? I know my mom's a big fan, and my dad was too. Those sour cream and onion Lay's.
Great.
So let's put that up into B. Yeah, that's always a pretty tasty one.
It's a classic.
Again,
you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
This is my fiance's favorite chip, is sour cream and onion. So she keeps those on deck. Let's see here for me. Pringles kind of weird me out a little bit. I don't go after the Pringles that often. I'll go with Tostitos, and I'm gonna put this in B. Now it would be a D just off the chip, but with the queso and all the salsa and stuff, if you have these, I don't know why it took so long for someone to come up with this, but it's just so convenient. It's like a little salsa bowl, that you can eat, which is really nice. So we'll put those in B, and that's with the caveat of having some salsa. So we'll do 2 more each here. So I'll push it to you.
Okay, let's see here. You've got some Mission, I think, tortilla chips right up there, right?
Yep, these are good.
Oh, I can't see what the flavors are.
Okay, so it's the Mission round ones and then the Mission triangle ones.
Okay, so let's take the triangle ones.
Okay, I agree with you on this.
Using the same logic that you just used. My wife makes this awesome dip that goes along with that chip or something very similar to it, where she takes like a block of cream cheese and she takes jalapenos and she adds like some sugar in it or something, and then she pours it over the cream cheese, and it gets a little bit soft because of the heat, but that sweetness, the kick from the jalapenos plus that cream cheese with the chip like that, it's hard to beat. It's tasty. It's very addictive. It's hard to put down, but it definitely gets ranked up there high on the list.
Rob's wife, if you're watching this on YouTube later, just put the recipe in the comments below, and I would like to try that. So let's see here. We got 2 more here. So, this is really tough for me. All right. I'm going to do Backyard Barbecue from Kettle Brand, and they're okay. I'm going to put them as a C because I got them and I was really excited about it, but I was not super impressed by them. But they are good. They're not Cheetos down here, but we'll do Backyard Barbecue, and I feel comfortable with putting that as a C.
All right. So I kind of feel bad that we have left category D empty.
Okay.
So I got a chip here that I'd probably eat more of than anything else on this list because it is a little bit healthier. I'm not going to say it's healthy, but it's healthier.
Sure.
And that is this Lay's baked chip, the one in the yellow bag about maybe right there. You can put that in D. It's good, it's good along with like a turkey sandwich or something like that, but it's doesn't have a lot of flavor. It's not necessarily, if I wasn't worried about, calorie intake or fat intake, I would definitely go up to the A's and choose any one of those. But this is something that you can eat that's probably still not good for you, but it's not as guilty. You don't have to.
There's no guilt. You know what my problem with the baked chips are? The baked chips to me just have like the texture of like cardboard.
No, exactly. Yep.
That's the problem for me. And it's not if kettle chips were healthy, I'd be fine. It's the baked chip is just, I don't know. I agree with you on the D. Now it's okay. It's okay. It's edible. Like you said, if you're watching when your intake, then I guess it makes sense. All right, let's try to think of a good one here for my final one, and then you'll have to think of a good one for your final one. Let's see.
All right.
All right. I'm going to do this one for my buddy Dylan. This is a shout out to him. We're going to take these peppercini chips, and I'm going to put this in a B category for Dylan. If it was for me, I would put them as a C. They're very interesting. I love pepperoncinis by themselves, especially like the ones you get with like the pizza or whatever. I think they're delicious. The chip is very interesting. If you've never had it, I would recommend just trying it just to say you did it, I guess.
Okay.
So we'll put that in B for Dylan. So your final choice, sir.
All right. Let me see here. What do we got left on here? Can you scroll down to that last row there?
Sure.
That's a couple rows. Okay. I guess to keep things a little bit on the healthy. Well, you know what? Forget that. Did I see Tostitos on there? The lime flavored ones.
I think so. Those are awesome. The hint of lime.
Yeah. Put those up there, and you can put that up there in like B or A, I would think.
Let's put it in A, and the reason I would say A is because you can actually eat that chip by itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Those are really good.
And on a warm summer day, having a nice cool Corona or whatever your preferred choice of cerveza is, and those chips.
Yep. Awesome.
Nice. Yep.
So that's our list. So I'll publish this, and I will I'll post it to LinkedIn, and everyone can tell us if they agree or disagree and where we screwed up. Even though I think this is a surefire list, I don't think we messed this up at all.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fun, man. I appreciate you coming on and telling us what you do and talk to us about iCONN. You wanna say anything else about iCONN before we take off here?
Yeah. Again, thank you for providing us the opportunity to have a little fun and talk and share a little bit about iCONN. But I would say to the guests out there, if you're ever in the Chicagoland area, feel free to reach out to me. And like I said, we feel that the plant is our biggest marketing tool. I'd love to take you for a plant tour. If that's not feasible, please reach out to me. We can go over some of the videos, some of the website material, and help give you a better feel for who iCONN is and what we can do to help you out.
Great. And everyone, that's Rob Smith from iCONN Systems. Again, that website is iconsystems.com, ICONN, 2 N's, systems.com. Hang out in the studio when we take off. I want to catch up with you once we shut this thing down. But again, I really appreciate you coming on, man. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Rob Smith, everybody. All right, y'all. I'm Rob Brunson with Wallace Electronic Sales. That was a fun one. We'll upload it to YouTube here in about 30 minutes. You guys go check that out. Again, we really appreciate all the viewers that have been flooded in. I think you guys may like this because it's organic and it's real. We'll keep doing it. And again, we appreciate you guys very much. With that being said, I'm Rob Brunson with Wallace Electronic Sales, and we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, everyone, so much for watching the stream. It's Rob Brunson with Wallace Electronic Sales. We want to provide you and your company with quality and competitive solutions. We don't care if you're a small OEM, a medium-sized OEM, or a large OEM. We have solutions that we can provide to everybody. Feel free to drop me an email at rob.brunson@west-inc.com. Again, that's robbrunson@west-inc.com. You can also check out our full OEM line card on our website, and that's at west-inc.com. Again, that's at west-inc.com. Thanks so much again for watching the stream, and we look forward to talking to you soon.